Hello, and welcome to my first video in hopefully a long series where we will prove or disprove science theories or science facts with the Bible. The reason I'm doing this series is because most Bible science material is on dinosaurs, evolution, that sort of thing. Now, there is a need for correcting the falsehood of those things, but I thought maybe there's a need for other stuff like that too. So I decided to make this video series for anyone who wants to learn about how science and the Bible go together. Our first lesson is Pangea, fact or fiction. Many modern scientists believe that the continents were once one big continent that is known as Pangea. I would be cautious of new scientific discoveries, but this one sounds pretty solid. First of all, with the story of Noah and the ark, pairs of all the animals of the world had to get to Noah to survive the flood. And I don't think animals could cross an ocean. Now, if God wanted to, he could have done anything to get the animals to Noah, but it makes sense that there was one piece of land to start with. Second, let's read Genesis chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. Keaton, would you read that for us?
Let's see. 9.
9 and 10.
Okay. And God and God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good.
Thank you. Notice what God said in verse 9. Would you read that for us?
Okay, verse 9. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so.
The waters were gathered to one place, implying, to me at least, that there was one piece of land. And in verse 10 it says,
God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good.
notice how it says land, not lands, implying to me again that there was only one piece of land. Third, in Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9, the story of the Tower of Babel. In this story, we see that the Lord scattered all the people over the face of the earth. Now again, God could do anything he wanted to, but it would make sense if there was one continent for them to scatter across. We will talk more about the Tower of Babel later. Now, there is some non-biblical evidence to support the idea. For one, if you were to take all the continents and islands and piece them together, you would end up with one big continent. Keaton, would you mind showing us about how that might work on the map?
Okay. So, if you look right here,
Yeah.
Can you see it? Okay. If you can look right here, Africa and Asia, right about right there, you can kind of see how it would kind of combine, and how it would kind of split apart. And look, Yemen,
Yemen, I think, is how it's
Yemen,
Yeah.
whatever that country is.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, if you bring it in a little bit downward,
Mm-hmm.
it could connect
Yeah.
to Somalia.
Yeah.
And it's also connected in that way to Djibouti.
Okay.
Also, one more thought. Tunisia.
Maybe. I'm
And
not very
Libya.
sure.
If you bring Europe down a little bit, Africa can connect to that.
Okay.
Right there, Tunisia or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And Libya, part of Libya, kind of goes inside of that little place right there in Italy.
Okay.
And then right there, it kind of connects.
Okay.
And I was just thinking this, I don't know.
Okay.
But if you brought all of South America up just a little bit, and put Peru and Ecuador inside all Cuba and Belize and Honduras and Nicaragua, all that, and bring Panama that connects to Colombia down a little. No, don't bring that down, just bring that up. It would connect.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well,
I'm not
if it looks like it would fit together, it might have, it might not have. What about right here? South America and Africa look like they might have been fit together before. mind.
Never mind.
Never mind. Okay.
Awesome.
Never mind. Okay. Also, fossils of the same species have been found in South America and Africa, like what we said right here, how they might have connected. Kyle Butt says that many rock types and formations abruptly end on the coast of one continent and just as abruptly begin on the coast of another continent. In numerous instances, these similar rock patterns and formations are found on the very continents that seem to have fit together in the past. In fact, well-known creationists have used the idea of Pangaea in their explanatory models of certain geologic phenomena. Next, we'll discuss what might have caused this split. I think, as well as others, think that this may have been caused by the global flood of Noah. Another proof that there may have been one continent would be that it would be much simpler to flood one continent, one piece of land, than a bunch of them. So if there was one continent, it would have probably been split by the flood. Do you have something to say?
Well, the Grand Canyon was, I don't know if we're going to get to this later.
Yeah.
We are?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about it later, but what do you have to say?
About, I can't remember. It was
Okay.
the Grand Canyon had something to do with the flood.
Yeah.
That, like,
we might get, we'll get to that later, and then if you remember, you can talk about it then. How's that sound? Okay. Now, you may be wondering, if the flood split the earth, then why did you mention the Tower of Babel? That did come after the flood. Yes, but it probably didn't become the oceans as we know them today. When I say subtly, they might have split subtly at first and then slowly eroded into the big bodies of water they are today. When I say subtly, I don't mean extremely subtly. The Grand Canyon is proof of the flood as well, and it is 18 miles wide. As a matter of fact, Niagara Falls erodes 1 to 3 feet per year. So if the world split and eroded at 1 to 3 feet per year for 6,000 years, that would be 1.2 to 3.5 miles of erosion over the course of time. Now, if you think about it, if it's split by about 18 miles or a little less, a little more, and then 1 to 3 feet per year for 6,000 years would be 3.5 miles. So if you take both coast areas, that would be 7 miles plus the 18 miles. That's a lot of miles that could have been separated. What is it?
Thought of this.
What is it?
If you know how if we dig down to China.
Yeah.
If we can dig down to China, if there was no,
there was no core and heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russia, if Russia dug if they dug down deep enough, they could get to Antarctica. Because Antarctica is at the bottom and Russia is at the top.
Maybe, or they might just end up with more ocean. Russia is a big country, bigger than Antarctica, so it depends on where in Russia you're at. But Kyle Butt says again that the fundamental problem for most evolutionary explanations of Pangaea's separation comes from their application of uniformitarian principles. Since we see the continents drifting only a few centimeters a year at present, then according to the uniformitarian thinkers, that must be the rate at which they have drifted for millions of years. This explanation fails to account for geologically catastrophic events on a massive scale. In truth, while the continents may have been connected in the past, they did not drift lazily apart over hundreds of millions of years. In the Genesis account of the flood, all the foundations of the great deep were broken up. This statement has been recognized as evidence of heavy volcanic and magmatic activity during the flood. Such volcanic activity on the ocean floor would also speak to the idea of an accelerated rate of sea floor spreading. The force and magnitude of the global flood, coupled with the ensuing volcanic and geologically cataclysmic activity, would certainly supply adequate causes for accelerated rates of continental drift. Now, I've given you all the evidence that I can think of, so I want you to decide for yourself whether you think Pangaea existed or not. The quotes in this video have been taken from the article Pangaea and the Flood by Kyle Butt. You can get this article on apologeticspress.org. Join me next week when we will discuss Pharaoh's magicians, and if you have any scientific questions, please send them to me and I might answer them in one of my videos.